Hi, I'm Heather from FitAspire and excited today to bring you guys a less than 30-minute flow. We're going to focus a little bit on heart opening, so a little bit of back bends, and then get you on your way. So what you're going to need today is potentially a blanket, and so that can be any kind of blanket or towel, and maybe two blocks, or you can always use some nice sturdy books or something similar as well. So find a comfortable seat. You can either be sitting on the blanket or sitting on a block or just tailbone rooted to the mat, and we'll get started. So starting by just gently closing your eyes, maybe resting your hands softly on the legs somewhere. And we'll start with just tuning into your breath, noticing the quality of your breath right now. I always like to notice whether my breath is a little deeper or more on the shallow side, and whether I'm breathing a bit more into the upper chest or into the low belly. There's no judgment here. It's just a great way to check in with where you are at the beginning of practice. And then checking in to be sure your shoulders are stacked over the hips. I have a tendency to lean forward, so for me, I'm just leaning back just slightly, which really brings my spine to be nice and tall. And then we'll move through some box breathing. So really thinking about drawing a box with the breath. So your inhale through the nose is drawing up the side of the box. You'll hold at the top, drawing over the top of the box. Exhale through the nose, we're drawing down the opposite side of the box. And then holding at the bottom, closing off the square. So starting with those nice, long, slow, deep inhales, let's see if we can aim for a count of 3 to 4 for all of our breaths. So inhale through the nose, up the side of the box, just holding at the top. Exhale through the nose, drawing down the opposite side of that box, and then holding at the bottom. Inhale through the nose, hold. Exhale through the nose and hold. Inhale, hold. Exhale, hold. Go ahead and take 2 more rounds of that box breath, giving yourself the freedom to lengthen or shorten each one of those inhales, hold, exhale, just keeping them all the same. And finishing up that last round, just return to nice, slow, deep inhales and exhales. Maybe starting to think about that ujjayi breath. And if you've not done that before, it's really just going to make those audible ocean sounds. So almost like you're inhaling through the collarbones, exhaling the same way. Almost another option is thinking about someone putting a plate of glass or a mirror in front of your face and how that breath you'd have to make in order to fog up the mirror with your breath. So starting to cultivate that breath, if that feels good in your body today, and then very slowly allowing the eyes to flutter open. Moving any props off to the side, so I'll just take the blanket off to the side for me. And then we'll shift into a tabletop shape. So really all fours, we're stacking shoulders over the wrists, knees right underneath the hips, and we'll take some traditional cat-cow movements. So on the inhale, belly drops low, tailbone to the sky, really thinking about pressing the heart forward, gaze slightly up. Exhale, opposite. So really arching the back, pressing through the hands, chin comes down to the chest. Inhale, belly drops low, gaze goes up. Exhale, arching the back, chin to the chest, really pressing through the hands, exaggerating the movements. Couple more here with your own breath. Doesn't have to be the exact same pace as mine. Really feeling into this warm up. We're warming up the spine. So just helping this start to feel really nice. If you need some more organic movements, feel free to take those as well. And then toes will come together. Knees can stay just as they are. You can slide them out a little wider. We'll sink the hips onto the heels and really stretch the R's out long. We're coming into child's pose. And I'm not going to ground my forehead, but really encourage you to. I'm just not grounding it just so it doesn't mess up the voice at all, so you guys can still hear me. In a lot of these movements, you'll see I'm always moving just slightly. So just taking the hips from side to side, really allowing things to warm up. You can always take movements like this in stillness or try a little bit of movement and see how that feels for you. And we'll walk the hands back towards the knees, coming up to sit high on your heels. And the knees can stay just as they are. You can bring the knees together into more of a traditional Virasana. If this is uncomfortable for any reason, take one of those blocks. We'll slide it between the shins on any setting, and that'll just give you a little bit of space that you can sit here in this Virasana pose a bit more comfortably. So from here, we're going to twist. So taking your left hand to the outside of the right thigh, take the right hand just behind you a little bit. Doesn't need to ground. We're taking a nice twist, thinking about that right shoulder, maybe twisting towards the back. It's not going to get there all the way, but that's kind of the intention. Again, continuing to breathe. Inhale, thinking about the spine growing long. Exhale, release, just twisting even a millimeter deeper. One more inhale. And then using the exhale to release the twist, we're just moving to the other side. So right hand to the left outside of the leg. Left hand goes behind. Again, thinking about left shoulder going towards the back. And then that inhale, nice and tall spine. Exhale, little bit deeper. And then staying with this breath, allowing it to work for you. One more inhale. And then releasing the twist on the exhale, coming back through center. And we'll take this block out from underneath. And just coming into that tabletop shape one more time. Toes will tuck, hips raised to the sky. We're coming into down dog. First down dog of the day, so be really gentle with yourself. And what I want you to think about mostly here is really prioritizing that we're lengthening the the chest and the back, and the legs can always stay bent. So you think about pressing through the hands, pressing the chest towards the thighs, and the hips go to the sky. So we're looking for this nice straight line from the hands all the way to the hips, and then maybe giving a nice generous bend in the knees, pedaling out the feet, allowing yourself to warm up really slowly. There's no rush here. And on the next inhale, looking up between the thumbs, we'll just start to make your way to the top of the mat any way you want to get there. And once you're there, just allowing yourself to really have that generous bend in the legs. Thinking about the belly laying on top of the thighs because you're bending so deeply, letting the head hang heavy, not holding it up at all. And then maybe taking opposite hand to opposite elbow. So this ragdoll pose, really feeling that lengthening of the back of the legs, maybe a little lengthening through the back as this kind of tractions down. And a little sway from side to side might feel nice, really waking up the legs. Next inhale, releasing the hands, taking the arms to sweep out wide as you come to stand really tall. Hands come to touch overhead. And then exhale, slight back bend. Again, we're just starting, so keep this nice and gentle. Inhale, reaching high. And then exhale, hands come down beside your legs. And we'll take a bind behind the back. So every time I talk about a bind today, you've got some options. So just like we did in ragdoll, you can take opposite hand towards the opposite elbow. So this would be one option. Or you can interlace the hands behind your back. Thumbs can stay right here on the sacrum. Or if your hips are, or your shoulders are more open, you'll lengthen the hands down, opening up the shoulders, really thinking about the shoulders spiraling out, shoulder blades coming together. This is going to be the deepest variation. So all three are awesome. Just feel what feels really nice in your body. And then taking the next exhale, folding forward, keeping the back nice and flat. Maybe the thumbs lift off the back and we take this into more of a stretch. Again, you can use any of the variations we talked about. Finding the breath. And then the next exhale, releasing the bind, letting the hands come gently down to the ground. Next, inhale, halfway lift. Hands can come to the shins or the mat. We're looking for a nice flat back. Gaze stays down so there's no wrinkles in the back of your neck. Exhale, release. And planting the hands, we'll step the right foot back, coming into a low lunge, and the right knee will settle onto the ground. Inhale, arms will reach up really tall. Exhale, thinking about sinking in, really feeling the stretch in the right side, feeling that hip flexor open up, the psoas. And then if you'd like to go a little deeper, we'll start to raise that right foot off the ground and then reaching back with the left hand, seeing if you can grab the foot. If you can't grab the foot, you can always leave that heel up, just thinking about pulling the heel towards the glute or just stay in that low lunge. Next, exhale, releasing the bind. Arms will spiral down, framing the front foot. We'll step back into a plank and always the option to go to lower the knees anytime we're in a plank pose. Maybe thinking about rocking from forward to backward, really turning on the core. And then exhale, lowering all the way down to the ground, elbows to the back of your mat. Untuck the toes. Inhale, pressing through the hands, finding a cobra here. So elbows squeeze in towards the body. Gaze stays nice and neutral, so not cranking it up. Really thinking about those no wrinkles in the back of your neck. And then exhale, release. And we'll press back, tucking the toes, coming onto hands and knees. And then hips rise to the sky. We'll come back into down dog, taking 2 breaths here. Next, inhale, that right foot's going to step forward, allows us to switch sides here. So our right foot is up by the right thumb. And inhale, arms reach tall. Exhale, sinking deeper, feeling that stretch on the left side this time. And then just like we did on the other side, you can stay right here. Or maybe you kick up that back leg and you can sweep the right arm back, seeing if you can grab for foot or ankle. The more you kick the foot into the hand, you're going to feel that stretch. Or you can pull the foot towards the back thigh. Both options, a nice quad stretch here. And then releasing the foot, arms spiral down, framing the front foot. We'll step the left foot up to meet the right. We're back in that forward fold or Uttanasana. And one more time through this. Inhale, arms sweep out wide. You've done this before. Hands come to touch overhead. Exhale, back bend. Maybe you're feeling just a bit more open. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, arms come down by the side. Take that opposite grip, so either that in opposite hand to opposite elbow. We're thinking about the opposite thumb on top. Should feel a little uncomfortable. And then finding that extension that you would like. Taking a moment here, shining the heart towards the ceiling. Shoulder blades come together. Gaze up towards the ceiling a bit more. And then exhale, folding forward, back is flat. Maybe the hands come forward, really finding the more depth in the shoulder stretch. One more breath. And then releasing the bind, hands come softly to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins or the mat. Exhale, release, planting the hands. This time we'll step right foot back and left foot back. We're already in that plank pose. And then lowering down, elbows to the back of your mat. Untuck the toes. Inhale, finding that cobra, squeezing the elbows in towards the midline. Exhale, release. Tucking the toes, making your way into that down dog, however you'd like to get there. Really nice. All right, let's do a little flow here. Next, inhale, right leg floats high. You can open or close the hip, whatever feels really nice. Exhale, bending the knee. We'll step the right foot to the right thumb, finding your lunge. And then once you're here, lowering the left knee. Inhale, arms sweep up tall. Exhale, we're finding that bind again. So still all those three options. What feels better in your body? And then making sure that back toe is tucked. On the next exhale, we're going to press into both feet, raising the left foot off the floor, finding a crescent lunge, keeping that bind, rolling the shoulders back, shoulder blades together. Repeat this just a few times. So exhale, lowering down. Inhale, pressing up. One more time here. And then releasing the bind, hands will come to heart center into prayer pose. We'll shift the weight forward onto this right leg so you can step the left foot up, coming right next to the right. We're in a chair pose, so hips are low. You can wiggle those toes so the weight's a little further back. And then thinking about nice tall spine, gazing straight ahead towards the front of the room. Next, inhale, shifting the weight to the left, the right knee comes up to 90 degrees, tucking in the low belly. And then we're moving into a figure four. So right ankle crosses over the left knee, lowering the hips, also called half chair. But you also might feel a really nice stretch in the outside of that right hip in this figure four pose. One more breath here. And then on an exhale, the foot's going to lower down to the ground as we straighten the legs, cross-legged, and then bowing all the way forward, coming into a cross-leg uttanasana or forward fold. Again, head hangs really heavy. One round of breath here. This is a pretty intense stretch down your IT band, so you might notice that. And then planting the hands, we'll sweep the right leg around, stepping back through lunge, left foot steps back, you're in plank, and this time lowering all the way to the ground. Coming into Sphinx pose, so just sliding the hands forward. We want to take the elbows right underneath the shoulders. Gaze is nice and long. The back is nice and long. Again, taking those wrinkles out of the neck as much as possible. And then thinking about engaging the low belly. So if you kind of pull in, thinking about pulling in the low belly a little bit, you might notice a little bit of release in that low back, which makes this feel a lot better. From here, we're going to kink the left hand, so it's right underneath your face. We'll kick the left leg up, and you can stay right here, or you can reach back and see if you can grab the ankle, outer or inner side. This is half frog pose. So again, pulling the heel towards the glute, really going to give you a more intense glute stretch. Your choice, how deep you'd like to go. Exhale, releasing the leg, coming back through Sphinx. And then lowering down, hands underneath the shoulders, making your way back into down dog. And we'll find this on the other side. Next, inhale, left leg floats high. Same thing we did on the other side, bending the leg. Left foot steps up towards the left thumb, finding your lunge, lowering the knee, arms sweep up tall. Opposite bind, again, your choice on what type of bind you'd like to take. But let's take that uncomfortable grip if you're interlacing the hands. And I'm going to go ahead and stretch long, shoulder blades come together. That back toe is tucked. On the exhale, pressing up, finding your crescent, pausing right here, feeling the strength of your legs. One more breath, and we'll floss through this. Exhale, back knee lowers. Inhale, raising back up. One more. And then releasing the bind, hands come to prayer, shifting your weight forward, shifting to bring the right foot up to meet the left. We're right into chair pose. Spine is tall, gaze is straight ahead. And then coming into figure four, we're going to straighten the right leg, left knee comes up, and then crossing the ankle, sitting back down, half chair or figure four. Definitely some balance here. So wiggles are great. Falling is always great. It means you're trying, which is always good. One more breath. And then on the next exhale, uncrossing the legs, stepping over. So we're coming into that cross-legged forward fold, bowing forward. Hands come to either side of the feet. Head hangs heavy. Whew, this can be an intense stretch on that IT band. Definitely feeling it on the right leg here. Can always bend the knees. And then we'll plant the hands. That left leg sweeps around, comes back through lunge. Right foot steps back. You're in plank. And then lowering all the way to the mat. Untucking the toes, finding your way into that Sphinx pose. Elbows are underneath the shoulders. We'll kink the right hand so that that right hand is underneath your feet, your face. The left knee kicks up, thinking about heel towards the glute. And then maybe you reach around, taking half frog on this other side. So again, the more you open the shoulder, the more space you will have. And we're kicking this heel towards the glute, feeling that nice quad stretch. One more breath here. And then releasing the leg, coming back through Sphinx, lowering to the ground, hands come beneath the shoulders, making our way into down dog. All right, then we'll change it up, just moving into our final peak pose for today. Slowly lowering the knees to the mat on your next exhale. Reaching for your blanket if you'd like a little bit of support. We're going to be coming onto our knees. So this can be as thick for more support or thinner, just the level of support you'd like. So just kneel in the middle of this. We're going to tuck the toes and come up into that high kneeling position. We'll start with a gentle camel here. So taking the hands right onto the sacrum, fingertips are pointing down, right onto the pelvis, and thinking about bringing those elbow tips like they're going to touch. They won't, but see how close you can get. Excellent. Now going up first, almost like you're folding over a beach ball. We're raising our spine tall and then starting to hinge forward. Finding that spot where you feel a nice stretch, never any pain. And then maybe shifting the hips just a little bit forward if that feels good. If that feels uncomfortable, you don't have to move forward at all. Just enjoy this. You can let the head release, or you can hold it up. Inhale, coming up through that high kneeling position. Untuck the toes, sinking down. Let's find that child's pose just for a minute. And we'll have the option to try a full expression of camel, reaching down towards blocks or towards your heels. If that doesn't sound inviting today, you can repeat the same gentle camel we just did with the hands on the sacrum. So next inhale, we'll slide the hands back towards the knees, coming back up into that tall kneeling, grabbing a block if you know you'd like that. I'm going to place the block horizontally between my 2 feet. You can also put one block on either side of the outside. So we'll start the same way. So everyone will start the same. Hands to the back of the sacrum, really thinking about reaching up tall first, over the top of a beach ball. So not just leaning back, up and over. And then maybe reaching back, seeing if you can find that block or even your heels. One arm is also an option, so the other arm could go high. Maybe you floss through both of those if that feels best. Or you can reach back for the outside of the block. I like to lean my hips back first, find my reach, and then open up, really thinking about rolling the shoulders back, shoulder blades together. One more round of breath. And then coming up, Like someone's pulling you all the way up nice and tall, toes together, sinking back, finding child's pose. One more time. Really nice job. If you'd like a little playtime to go through that again or try something else in your practice, this is a great point to pause the video. You're already nice and warm. Maybe there's a pose you've been working on. Maybe you want to go through that exact same flow, or even just do that and change one or two things. And then just coming back when you're ready for your cool down. If you're ready to cool down, we will go ahead and move there now. Sliding the hands back, coming into that Virasana one last time, and then heels to one side, just allowing your glutes to come to the ground. Move any props out of the way. And we're going to come through Navasana or boat pose, a tiny little bit of core work before we really slow down. So tilting back on the hips, feet are coming up, so shins are at 90 degrees. Hands can stay on the mat, back of the quads or back of the hamstrings, or the palms are to the ceiling. Thinking about nice tall spine, gaze towel usually helps me. And then if you're feeling this mostly in the hip flexors, tilt back a little more and you should feel that core turn on. Holding for 2 more breaths. And then on your next exhale, lowering all the way to the ground, really, really slow until you come to flat on the mat. Knees into the chest, maybe rolling a little from side to side. We'll come into happy baby. So feet towards the ceiling. Hands can reach to the outside of the feet or piece fingers and thumbs to your big toe. And again, rocking from side to side. It's happy baby. It's not sleeping baby or something like that. And then releasing the bind from the hands, knees into the chest one more time. We'll move into a gentle supine twist. So we'll make this one nice and easy, but you're welcome to take your favorite variation if you'd prefer. So I'm just stacking, so my legs are at 90 degrees and starting to roll onto the right side, legs coming to the ground, and then reaching back with your left hand. Maybe your shoulder grounds, maybe not. Closing your eyes, coming back to the breath. Coming back to that space you found at the beginning of class as we start to slow things down. Next, inhale, rocking back onto the back, knees into the chest. And then allowing the knees to gently drop onto the left side. Right arm reaches out long. Feeling that nice twist through the upper back, maybe through the lower back. Next, inhale, knees rock back through center. One last squeeze into the chest. And then making your way into Shavasana, or your final resting pose, really taking up space on the mat. Legs stretch long, palms rest facing forward. One more really deep inhale through the nose. Sigh it out. And if you have more time here, ideally you want to spend 3 to 5 minutes in the Shavasana, just allowing your body to relax, to really integrate all the work that we did today. It's another opportunity to pause the video and then just come back for our closing. If this is the time you have for today, you And just pull the knees into the chest, allowing them to drop off onto either side through that fetal position. And then using the top arm, pressing yourself back up into a seat, coming back through easy seat. Palms come together to touch at heart center. We'll hinge at the waist, just bowing forward, sealing our practice together. Thank you for joining with me today, and I'll see you next time.